good evening, and thank you for stopping by the Cruise Coffee Show. In this show, our dedicated team will guide you through the latest updates and theories involving the cruise industry around the world. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams when they go live.
Hello everybody, and we are live on the first episode of the Cruise Coffee Show. My name is Nathan from Best of Both Worlds, and right now in the studio we have Tyler from the Cruise Junkie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the early morning hours here on the East Coast.
But anyway, everyone, welcome to the Cruise Coffee Show, where the news is real and the coffee is fake. Today is Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. And if you were in the stream just a couple minutes ago in the live chat, please tag us in the chat at Best of Both Worlds, and we will try our best to answer your questions as best as we can. But first, we're just gonna talk, and then we're gonna get on to some of the major breaking cruise news that happened yesterday, and last week. So anyways, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Nathan. It is, of course, early in the morning. Got the coffee, actually the fake coffee, right again. Where the cruise news is real, but the coffee is fake. And yeah, just drinking some fruit punch.
That's nice. I also do like fruit punch, but I'm not drinking that right now. I might later, but anyway, once again, if you have any questions, please tag us in chat. You can also tag us in the comments during the replay. So if you have any questions after the stream, you can write a message, and we will answer that as best as we can.
Yep. Again, leave them right down in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer them.
And once again, if you're in the chat right now, please should say hello. Please just say hello so we know that you're here. So anyway, we're going to get on to the cruise news. So if you guys are ready for the cruise news, please just write a message down in the chat.
Yeah, this week in the cruise news, before we get into it, I just a little news for everyone saying it was a busy week this week, and the week hasn't just begun, yesterday was the beginning of the week, and yet it was a packed week.
It's a packed week full of cruise news. Cause and plus and last week, the beginning of last week was alright, and then at the end of the week was just full. And then we started off this week with a ton of cruise news. So it's definitely no shortage of cruise news. So, alright, but anyway, we are going to get on with the cruise news, starting with story 1. If you've been paying attention, or if you're a Carnival fan, if you've been paying attention to the news recently, you may have noticed that Carnival is starting a new brand, Costa by Carnival, using the names of two ships, which I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce. So anyway, Carnival Cruise Lines announced last week that they would be teaming up with Costa and starting a new brand, Costa by Carnival. Starting in the spring of 2023, one of the Costa ships will join the Carnival fleet and sail from New York. The Costa Venezia will be sailing from New York, following the Costa Venezia. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, which I probably am. Will be sailing from the port of Long Beach in the spring of 2024. So anyway, so the ships will probably have a small refurbishment before they sail on to. Will most likely get a small renovation before they sail on to that. But anyway, Tyler, what is your opinion on this?
Oh, that's interesting. So I did a video on my second channel, The Cruise Junkie. If you haven't checked it out already, shameless plug, check it out. But I did a video on that and breaking down the news. Again, this is actually the third Costa ship Carnival is taking over in the next few years. Of course, they're starting with the Costa Luminosa that's going to be transferred to Carnival. We're going to be sailing out of Australia, then Alaska. Big news there, of course. So this is very interesting. These ships are absolutely stunning. Like, there's photos online of these ships. They look absolutely great. Like, they're not like dumpy ships in any shape or form. So not much work has to go into it. Again, it will be interesting to see what Carnival does decide to add, of course, give it that more North American vibe. Of course, they did say they're going to keep Italian style. However, the thing that they did say is that they're going to have the staple Carnival food and entertainment activities on board. So will there be a guy's burger joint or a Blue Iguanas or a Shaq's Big Chicken? That is to be determined at this time, according to John Heel, Carnival brand ambassador. They did say that they are in the works with the upper beards to go ahead and work out the final details about the dry dock, what is going to be involved. Of course, do note that these ships are not going to have the Carnival signature whale tail or anything like that. They're basically just going to be operated by Carnival with their signature cruise directors and entertainment staff on board.
Yes, and Christine Duffy, president of Carnival Cruise Lines, said in a press statement, Costa Veneta and Costa Veneta will bring Carnival's guests the ambience and beauty of Italy. Now, just like Tyler said, so don't expect to have the full Carnival experience on board these new ships. It's going to be the same Carnival crew, the same Carnival cruise directors you all know and love, but it's going to be just Costa basically. But this is definitely very interesting. Duffy also said that the ships will continue to operate the regular coast itineraries until they come in for Carnival for their dry dock work and deployment. Now, also keep in mind, when she talks about dry dock, we don't really know too much details right now. But maybe at a restaurant or two, and maybe some refurbishing work done in other spaces, but that it's going to mostly retain its Costa feel. So anyway, let us know what you guys think about this story down in the comments if you're watching the replay or in the live chat. I definitely think this is pretty interesting, but we will have to wait and see how this happens.
Indeed, it's going to be very interesting to see how it does play out. I'm more actually interested to see the major events of Costa Luminosa are going to be Carnival Luminosa. I'm interested to see what they do with that one, because that one's going to actually change its name from Costa to Carnival. So I'm very interested to see that, is for sure.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be interesting because because it's going to be coming over to Carnival. It's going to be sailing in the in Australia, and John Hill said that it's not going to be fully refurbished to Carnival, just maybe a hull artwork, the hull paint, and that's about it.
Yeah, again, will be interesting to see that, is for sure, with the Carnival Luminosa. Vienza and Fiorenza. Not sure if I'm pronouncing this one right, but those ships look absolutely amazing, and can't wait to see them here in North America. Again, the itineraries are being worked out as we speak for these ships, where they're going to sail from. We could see them in Canaveral. There's a possibility. I'll definitely head over to the port to see it if they do decide to stop there, just depending on the itineraries. Not sure exactly what Carnival does for those New York cruises, because they're different from like Norwegian. Norwegian always has a Canaveral stop sign with Royal Caribbean from New York. It will be interesting to see what they decide to do with their itineraries. Half the year doing the Bermuda with the Costa Vienza sailing from New York. Again, it will be interesting to see nonetheless. I do think it's also interesting that they're sending the Costa Fiorenza to Long Beach, because they already have a Vista class ship over there, the Carnival Pandorama. So that was a very interesting thing of note, which I thought was Very interesting.
And also, what's also going to be interesting is it's actually going to have to sail through the Suez Canal, because keep in mind those ships are not able to fit in the Panama Canal. So, and probably much so that's what Carnival Panorama had to do. It had to sail from the shipyard in Italy, sail all the way through like the tip of South America, then go all the way up. But anyway, in the chat right now we have the man, the myth, the legend, Travel with Nick.
What's up, Nick? Good morning.
So Nick, if you're still watching right now, let us know what you think about this new Costa by Carnival concept, since you're everything Carnival, so let us know what you think about that. But anyway, we're going to go on to the next story. This is a story which I didn't really think would happen. Crystal Cruises is back.
Yeah, they are back. They're back indeed. Of course, they have a buyer. I think it's the A and K group. They're buying 2 of the Crystal Cruise Line ships. I'm not quite sure what's happening with. I heard that rumors online that the third ship that was sold on auction, the Expedition cruise ship, I'm sure Nathan has in the story, but I think that's sold to Silver Sea or someone like that. Not exactly sure, but still very interesting. Great to see Crystal back again. I said it when Crystal went bankrupt. I said that they're going to come back, and look at that. Sure enough, they're coming back.
Alright, so anyway, let's get on to the next story of this stream. The A&K Travel Group bought the Crystal Serenity and Crystal Symphony for a total of $128 million. Now, keep in mind that is not really a whole lot of money for 2 ships. That's like scrapyard money. So
yeah, but same time though, they're going to be sailing these ships again with the Crystal brand, which I think is just amazing.
So these 2 ships will resume service in 2023 after a extensive refurbishment and will operate under the Crystal Cruises brand. Now also keep in mind, they also bought the rights to Crystal Cruises, so they also own the rights to the Crystal Cruises name and stuff like that.
Yes, again, absolutely, as I was saying earlier, absolutely great to see that this cruise line has bought Crystal back, because, again, right now, Crystal is a cruise line that is pretty great. But with this new brand ownership, maybe they'll be able to grow their fleet with this new investors. Again, the same thing with Azamar. I'm sure you remember Azamar. Azamar were kind of same situation where Royal Caribbean sold it to a third party, an investor group or some sort. And Azamar is better than before. Of course, the investor group said, we're going to double down and buy a 4th ship. So with Crystal, we'll be interested to see if they decide, the investor group, if things go well, will they expand the fleet?
Yeah, because I watched a video from Bright Sun Films about Crystal Cruises. If you guys haven't watched it already, it's a pretty interesting video. You should probably go watch it after the stream. But the video, so when Crystal was bought by Genting Hong Kong, which was also the same people that owns Star Cruises and Dream Cruises, which you probably won't even know what that is because they sail in the Asia parts of the world. But what happened was when they bought it, they announced all these new cruise ships, but of course that led Genting Hong Kong to eventually run out of money. And that's why these ships are for sale. So, but anyway, the guy from, the guy from the AK Travel Group, actually, this isn't actually the first time he bought a cruise line. Actually, about 35 years ago, they actually acquired the rights to Stillmar Cruises. So this is not like his first time or anything. This is definitely This is not his first time. But anyway, at this time, we do not really know any other details about what's going to happen, or like what the ships are going to look like, or like where they're going to sail from. But anyway, that is definitely very interesting.
Indeed, very interesting. That is for sure. It's good to see that the brand though is coming back, because again, I mentioned earlier in the show and on my other videos when this news was broke that this cruise line is too big to be, bankrupt, or too much value into it. It's not really too much big. They don't have as big of a fleet. But there's a lot of value, and the clientele is very loyal. So having this line stick around is, again, great news in general for the cruise industry.
Yeah, so that's definitely very interesting. So tell us what you guys think about this story down in the chats below. Once again, if you have any questions, please tag us at Best of Boat Worlds, and we will answer your questions as best as we can. Travel with Nick says that he is excited about the coaster by Carnival. I definitely am excited about that too, since we will actually be getting a coaster ship on the East Coast. So that's definitely going to be very interesting. So we'll have to wait and see how that happens.
Yep, absolutely. Will be interesting to see. I know Costa does sell out of Fort Lauderdale in the winter but they don't have the bigger ships. It's just I believe, I forget what ship it is, but they do sell one of their smaller ships out of Port Everglades in the winter period. So, but still great to see that we're going to get a big Carnival cruise ship here. I mean, Costa cruise ship here on the East Coast.
Yeah, so that is definitely going to be very interesting. So if you guys saw the news yesterday, you might have heard about this. So when you think about iceberg, so what do you think about when people talk about icebergs? That's right.
I think the Titanic, ship sinking, gloom.
Yes. So on Saturday, the Norwegian cruise ship, the Norwegian Sun, hit an iceberg. So we will go to that story in just a couple of minutes. But once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to tag us in chat at Best of Boat Worlds, and we will answer your questions as best as we can. You can also do it on the replay comments as well. But anyway, the Norwegian Sun hits an iceberg. This is probably a story I wasn't expecting to cover on this live stream. But anyway, the 78,309 gross ton Norwegian Sun on its way to Skagway, Alaska, hit an iceberg at about 8 a.m. Had an iceberg about 8 a.m. local time when it was transitioning to Hubbard Glacier in Alaska. Now keep in mind, this was on Saturday, so this was a couple of days ago. Norwegian Cruise Line said in a statement on June 25th, 2022, while transitioning to Hubbard Glacier in Alaska, the Norwegian Sun was engulfed in dense fog, limiting visibility and resulting in the ship making contact with a growler. NCA also went on to say that the ship remains fully operational and is currently on its way to Juneau, Alaska for assessment. Additional information will be provided as appropriate. So what do you think about this?
I do have so I have an update here. This was posted yesterday. I'm going to see if I can pull it up for you. But supposedly, actually, the cruise right now is heading back to Seattle a little bit early. Of course, Norwegian is playing it safe with this cruise ship. Of course, I do think it's interesting. I did saw a post of this online, and I think this is very, very interesting. Is Norwegian has had the most issues. I wouldn't say the most out of all of them, because Royal also has a lot of issues since 3-star, but they had a lot of groundings and incidents like that. Of course, we had the Norwegian escape back in the Dominican Republic. That ship was out of commission for a few months, and it still is going to have to take a few more weeks out of commission to go to dry dock. So again, overall, it is just very, very unfortunate to see all this that is happening with the Norwegian escape. And by the way, here is an update here from Norwegian Cruise. I'm going to read this in quote. Upon assessments of the ship's hull, it's been decided that the remainder of the current cruise has been canceled, and the ship will slowly proceed back to Seattle, making technical stop in Victoria, British Columbia on 6/29. The ship will depart Juneau around 2 p.m. on 6/27. The Sun will arrive back in Seattle on 6:30 as originally planned. Everyone will receive a refund of their cruise and 100% future cruise credit for the future cruise fare paid. I think this does follow as Norwegian Cruise Line, of course, had that ship hit the iceberg, but it's just absolutely crazy to see that two Norwegian ships in the past few months had problems with their pole and bow by hitting objects such as a sandbar and more.
Yeah, so, and now you're probably wondering, when I talked about a growler, you're probably wondering what that is. That is not a Titanic-sized iceberg. That is about an iceberg that's about 3 feet high. It's enough to cause some damage. Some passengers on board the ship reported like scraping noises, and also reported the ship shaking back and forth.
Absolutely, yep. There's some video online of it hitting it. Not a big iceberg. Now, what you think when you think iceberg? You probably think Titanic, big iceberg. No, it was just a little small, little inky one. But still, they're playing it safe, taking safety, and big shout outs to the cruise lines for always taking safety first when it comes to these incidents. Decided to be on the conservative side and canceled the cruise, send it back home, take slower speeds. Again, really great to see. A funny fact was, I saw the Norwegian Sun all the way back there in 2019, actually early 2020, outside of the Canaveral market doing other cruises.
Yes, that is definitely interesting, because I also remember seeing the Norwegian Sun. We just came back on the Disney Fantasy. This was November 2019. I didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but it was docked in Cruise Terminal 5. It was docked in Cruise Terminal number 5. So it was definitely interesting to take a look at it. So definitely interesting.
Absolutely.
But anyway, So honestly, to tell you the truth, nothing probably happened to the ship. Probably maybe just a scrape on the hull where it made impact, but really honestly, the ship is safe. But I do like how Norwegian, even though they probably know that the ship is safe and that there's really no issues going on, they're still taking the safety of the passengers in mind. But definitely, if the ship was in danger of something happening, they will probably not be heading back to Seattle with passengers on board. So definitely, it's definitely most likely safe if they're heading back to Seattle.
Absolutely, that is for sure. Again, they would have done what they done with the Norwegian escape and had the ship dock in Juneau and then bus everyone out via plane if they were that worried. So that is good to hear that at least it's in better condition than the escape. But of course, we all know how that escape thing planned out with people getting off the ship. Did not exactly go the greatest with all the charters that the cruise line has paid for and everything. The flights were delayed. People were stuck in the Dominican Republic for longer than expected. So again, it's good to see that the ship, though, is returning back to the mainland of the U.S., of course, all the way over there to Seattle, Port of Seattle. If you ever sailed out of the Port of Seattle, very interesting port. I sailed back there actually back in 2017 or 16, one of those years. A very interesting port. And a pretty cool one too. The views you get of the big mountain in the background, absolutely amazing. If you ever have the chance to sail out of do Alaska or Canadian cruise, highly recommended. The scenery is beautiful up there.
Yeah. And also I do have to say, also another interesting port is all the way on the other coast of New York City. We sailed out of New York City 2018 on the Norwegian Escape. So we sailed out of the Manhattan Cruise Terminal. It's definitely very interesting. You sail directly from the middle of the city. You sail by the Statue of Liberty, and you go under the Venanzo Bridge. Now, I wasn't outside at the time. We were inside the ship. We had an inside cabin on our cruise. So, but I was watching it on the bridge view. So it was definitely very interesting seeing how close to the top we were to the bridge. That's definitely a very interesting port. And I definitely think whether or not you're a cruise fan or not, you should definitely sail out of New York at least once.
Absolutely, that's for sure. At least sail out of every port as often as possible. At least visit too. You don't have to sail out of it. You can just go there for the day, check, get a sail out of it. Of course, if you're familiar, I'm Tyler Show, cruise junkie. I focus on Port Canaveral. Nathan, of course, does all the way the ports up there, Norfolk and all that stuff. So we're kind of very familiar to these ports. So if you have any questions involving those ports in future episodes of the Cruise Coffee Show, we'll get into it in the future, involving Norfolk, Canaveral, and maybe Galveston. We get Nick on the show, and other guests such as some of Nathan's good buddies who work in the cruise industry, making it happen each and single day.
Yes, and also I know there have been some rumors about Norfolk recently, but I do want to say, but I definitely do want to say it is definitely good. Like, I know like people have also been saying like the Carnival Magic is too big. Well, go to Norfolk when the Norwegian Joy is there. It doesn't even really fit the pier.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, here in Canaveral, for example, it's funny when we get some of these small ships. We don't get a lot of them. We get like the American Queen Steamboat Company, the American. I think they changed their name. It's not American Queen Steamboat Company. It's American Queen Voyages. That's the name of the company. They changed it. Anyhow, we have one of their ships. I think it's the Ocean Voyager come to Canaveral, and that ship is inky dinky compared to the rest of them. So that's it's always cool to see at the cruise terminals. Again, it's a very small ship. Compared to the bigger ships like the Norwegian, Joy or the Disney Wish.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about these cruise ports, please tag us in chat. And if you have any questions about like Port of Tampa, Miami, Port Everglades, Port Canaveral, West Palm Beach. If you have any questions about like Baltimore, Norfolk, or New York City, please tag us in chat, or you can tag us in the replay comments as well at the bottom of the video.
Absolutely. Again, if you do have any comments, questions, concerns, tag us in chat. It is the best way for us to pick out your question from our automated software. I'm just kidding. We don't have that yet, but we're working on it. In chat, that is the absolute best way for us to read your questions here on the show. So Nathan, you want to go ahead and move on to the next story?
So let's go on to the next story. There is definitely no shortage. There's definitely no shortage of cruise news, and that actually goes on to there's definitely no shortage of cruise news, and especially for Norwegian cruise lines. So anyway, if you guys haven't seen lately, Norwegian has been canceling cruises from Hawaii on the Pride of America due to staffing shortages. So have been limiting. Norwegian Cruise Lines is continuing to limit the guest capacity on board Pride of America due to staffing shortages since it's resumed operations in April of this year. But it has been going on for a lot longer than March, because Norwegian Cruise Lines because in May, not too long ago, Norwegian Cruise Lines canceled guests on the Pride of America due to staffing shortages from June to July. And now they're canceling cruises in August through September. Now, the cruises itself are not canceled, but they're canceling guest reservations. So Norwegian Cruise Lines wrote to canceled guests. Due to staffing levels on board Pride of America, we will be operating at a lower guest capacity to ensure we are able to deliver a high caliber vacation experience in order to adjust to the current staffing levels. Unfortunately, we are unable to accommodate all guests with reservations on Pride of America from August 6, 2022 through and including August 27th, 2027. Now, keep in mind, some guests have been affected, not all guests have been affected. So apparently, Norwegian Cruise Lines is basing on its cancellations. So, if you're booked on Pride of America, you've been booked for a long time, and you're paid in full, you will most likely not be canceled. However, if you've just booked your Pride of America sailing, and you haven't paid in full, you will most likely get canceled. So, what do you think about this, Tyler?
Yeah, it's very interesting to see that. Of course, they're still, canceling cruises with passengers. I think it's very cool too that they're, even though it's like some cruise lines, even though they have a staffing shortage, they're still sailing cruises at high capacities. At least Norwegian is still saying, you know what, we need to have a good experience, so we'll reduce the capacity so everything can be, the one-on-one staff and the legendary staff that cruise lines are known for can still happen on board. So I think this is a really great thing that Norwegian Cruise Line is doing. It's not great for the people cruising, right? But it's good for the staff on the ship too, because the staff don't feel as overwhelmed, of course, with them having to deal with 2 times the passengers compared to the overall staff on the ship.
Yes. And also keep in mind, they're probably wondering, well, why isn't any other cruise ship having this issue? Well, it's not just Norwegian. A couple other cruise lines are having staffing shortages, but on the Pride of America it's pretty major. And I'm probably wondering why. Well, the Norwegian Pride of America is the only major cruise ship, keep in mind, only major cruise ship that is registered in the United States. Now you're probably wondering, well, what about American Queen Steamboat, or what about American Cruise Lines? Well, there's smaller cruise lines, there's a ton of them, but the Pride of America is the only large cruise ship registered in America. So that means that all of the crew on board the ship have to be from America. Like, they have to be born in America, born and raised in America, to have to be able to work on those ships. And apparently, they are reporting about only 550 crew on board out of the total 920 crew members that the ship can actually hold, which is definitely pretty interesting. I actually did see I was actually looking at careers on a Norwegian Cruise Line a couple of weeks ago, and they were actually trying to hire people on Pride of America, and they said it was urgent, so it's definitely pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Again, Pride of America was the last biggest U.S. built ship, and it actually wasn't even built all the way in the U.S. Only the hull was built in the U.S. Mississippi. Then the project that it was originally supposed to be built for with another cruise line went bankrupt. Of course, we're familiar, Norwegian bought the ship, sent all the parts all the way over to Germany, built in the Meyer Werft shipyard. They went to Congress or what have you, the Maritime Board. They lobbied heavily for them to get a waiver so they can't operate cruises out of Hawaii, and they did. But again, the waiver only allows them to operate Hawaiian voyages with the Pride of America and the other ship, the Norwegian Sky. Back in the day, I think it was Spirit of Aloha, I think was the name of the Norwegian Sky. Back in the day, those were the 2 ships that they were allowed to operate. And then, the Pride of America was not the only ship in the original class of vessels for this other cruise line that went bankrupt. They also had another ship that was being built, but Norwegian Cruise Line, of course, took those parts that they had for that second ship and moved it over to the Norwegian Jade. So if you're on board the Norwegian Jade, just know that you're sailing on parts that are built originally intended for the Pride of America number 2.
Yeah, so the Pride of Aloha was actually the Norwegian Sky. So that is definitely pretty interesting. And actually there was actually intended to be more ships in the class, but Norwegian just ended up building the Pride of America. Well, actually, what they did is they build like the outer frame of the ship or the structure of the ship in Mississippi, and then they towed it all the way to Germany to be outfitted. So technically, it was built in America.
Yes. Technically speaking, it was.
Yeah, so that's definitely very interesting. So if you're sailing on board Pride of America, what does this mean for you? Well, according to the cruise line, specialty restaurants will be closed, and the main dining room will not be open for breakfast or lunch, which is so. If you're sailing on board Pride of America, if you're sailing on board Pride of America, don't really expect the full Norwegian experience on board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, at this time, you guys got to be very, I should say, got to be very knowing that these cruise ships right now are having big staffing shortage on board all of their ships. I know Royal Caribbean has a problem. Their problem necessarily isn't per se getting the staff on the ship, but the staff they do have on the ship is less experienced than the staff was working before the shutdown. Carnival has another problem too. Carnival, they have to close some of the restaurants because it's gotten so bad. Like Capitano, I'm butchering that one up, but basically the Italian restaurant on board, they had to close that one on every ship except Mardi Gras, because of course on Mardi Gras that restaurant is being used as a secondary dining room. So again, very interesting to see nonetheless here with the cruise line staffing shortage, and hopefully the cruise lines can get the staff levels back up. Hopefully they can. Again, it's such a pain for the staff to get on the ship. That's why a lot of people have left the cruise ship industry, because it is such a pain to get working on the ships with the quarantine testing, vaccine boosters, all that stuff. It's such a pain to get on board.
Yes. So also, and I would recommend, if you're considering sailing aboard Pride of America, I would definitely book a cruise definitely farther out, like 2023, 2024. Because I anticipate these staffing shortages to go on until the end of the year, and possibly maybe even next year. So if you're thinking about Pride of America, I would definitely not book it this year. If you do want to book it this year, I would probably say November or December, but definitely not really anytime soon.
Yep, again, I would try to book as later in the window as possible. It gives you the best idea. Hopefully things can return to more normalcy involving the staffing shortage on board Pride of America. Hopefully can return back. But again, that is a problem with having U.S. flagships, is the U.S. labor pool market for maritime is very, very small. And it is one of the big problems with the Pride of America. That is why sometimes it does get the worst reviews out of all the Norwegian fleet because of the labor shortage here in the U.S. It's hard to find good work in the maritime sector.
Yes, definitely. And this year has not been really a good year for Norwegian cruise lines. As you know, at the beginning of the year, the Norwegian Escape ran aground in the Dominican Republic, and it was out of service for about a whole month. And now it's going to be out of service from September to October for a special dry dock, which we don't really know what that is yet. It's probably just to get the ship repaired from when it ran aground. And not too long after that, the Norwegian Prima canceled its maiden voyage. I think it canceled its maiden voyage, and I think another voyage, but I'm not sure. And then its sister ship, the Norwegian Via, will be delayed 2 weeks next year. And then, of course, as you all know, the Norwegian Sun hits an iceberg. So this is definitely not a good year for Norwegian cruise lines. Now, also, please keep in mind, if you're booking a cruise this year, definitely please be patient with the cruise line, as they are still trying to figure everything out. Now, you're probably thinking, well, it's a year later, so they would have everything figured out. Well, they're still trying to figure everything out. So please just be patient with the cruise lines, and they make sure to ensure that you have the best cruise vacation possible.
Absolutely, that is for sure. That they're working hard, trying to get everything working great for you. So do be patient. Again, with the testing, that's another thing that's going to change. Good quote from Michael Bailey, president. Cruise people were asking about the testing and stuff, and he says coming. But again, that's another hurdle people are dealing with when it comes to cruising. So just be patient, guys. Again, the cruise lines are trying to do the best to keep you safe, so just know about that.
Yes, and also if you have any questions about so if you have any questions, please tag us in chat at Best of Both Worlds, and we will try to answer your comments as best as we can. And like I said earlier in the stream, you can also write it in the comments below if you're watching the replay as well. So
absolutely, tag us in chat again. Best way to do it, get our question answered. Or use the hashtag question. That does help us let us know it's a hashtag question. But we have some breaking news here. I remember this up. I haven't really read into it that much. I was reading this morning. I just got up, here at the show, and I was reading, but there is some big cruise news here. And some pretty, I would say, disturbing one. I'm not sure if you heard about this, Nathan. Basically, there was a huge fight on board the Norwegian, actually not the Norwegian, the Carnival Magic. Oh my goodness. I'm sure you heard the story we were talking about earlier in the show with the Magic. As soon as it's left us in Canaveral, this ship has had the absolute worst record ever. Of course, I had cars being broken into, which has nothing to do with the ship, but long check-in lines, gas leaks, and all that stuff. But now, supposedly, there has been a large fight on board their ship with lots of people being basically go ahead and, I don't say harmed, but they basically were having a deck party, supposedly, according to some of the stories. Again, the stories aren't really published, so I'm just remembering what I read off of Facebook this morning. But again, basically, there was a huge brawl at, I believe, the nightclub or something like that this morning, and a lot of people are arrested, hurt, and harmed, and all that stuff. So it's kind of crazy.
It's definitely very interesting. Because if you guys probably wondering, ship sailing from New York right now, and as soon as it left Port Canaveral, there was apparently a gas leak on board the ship, which caused a couple passengers to get sick and the ship to be delayed departure from Norfolk. Also, a ton of car break-ins, long lines, which, in my opinion, that's not Carnival's fault. That's the port in Norfolk's fault. And apparently, the issues are still going on even after the ship left Norfolk, Virginia. Now, the ship is spending the summer season in New York City before heading back to Port Canaveral, I think.
Yes, so we're heading back to Canaveral, I think, so November or October or so. She'll be back here operating 6 and 8 night cruises to the Caribbean, Eastern and Western Caribbean. I can't wait to have her back here in Canaveral. Do miss having her here. Of course, here at Canaveral now we just have, for Carnival wise, we have the Carnival Freedom, Carnival Liberty, and Carnival Magic. So having them, not the Magic actually, excuse me, goodness, the Mardi Gras. Let's tell you, the M's are getting me confused. The Mavic, like the DJI drones, the Mavic 3 and then the Mini 3. It's confusing stuff out there.
Yes, but anyway, so the Disney Wish is about to get christened, and if you've been paying attention to the news from Disney Cruise Line, there's not going to be a godmother, not a godfather, not a godfamily, no, godchildren. So now, if you don't really pay attention to christening, typically a cruise line will hire. Typically a cruise line will ask a famous celebrity, "Hey, would you like to christen our ship?" Sure, they say sure, and then they go to the christening ceremony. They either say like, "I christen the whatever the ship name is. May God bless the ship and all who sail on her." And basically the ship is christened. It's also basically the ship's blessing as well. So Disney is partnering with Make-A-Wish, and the godchildren will be joined along with the other Disney ship godmothers, Patty Disney, who christened the Disney Magic, Tinkerbell, who christened the Disney Wonder, Jennifer Hudson, who christened the Disney Dream, and Mariah Carey, who christened the Disney Fantasy. They will be joined along with them as well. So, Tyler, what do you think about this story? I definitely think this is a very interesting story, so I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. The Wish to itself is, before we get into what I think about the christening, I think it's absolutely amazing, of course. But I saw the Wish yesterday in Canaveral, beautiful ship. Again, I can't wait to see her sailing that as Monday and Friday rotation at the port's going to be absolutely great to see. Hope to get her sailing away one of these days. Sadly, she didn't actually leave yet last night, so I didn't get any footage of her leaving, which was quite unfortunate. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to seeing the christening ceremony. That happens tomorrow on the 29th out of Port Canaveral. They're going to be christening this ship. It's going to be absolutely amazing to see and finally see this ship set sail, of course, on July the 14th for its maiden voyage. Of course, I'm hoping to go down to Canaveral sometime before she starts sail with her maiden voyage and do one of the pre-maiden voyages. So cannot wait to go ahead and see that. But again, really excited that Disney Cruise Line is doing this cool thing with the godchildren. And some articles online are saying this is the first time children have been used to christen this ship. I do want to point this out that actually it is not. You have the Pentavegas with Royal Caribbean International. They basically had kids, of course, Ocean Pentavega, and they were the first family to be christened a ship, and technically they had a child, so they were technically not the first. Disney Cruise Line is not the first godchildren to ever christen a ship. So I want to put that out there because some articles are claiming Disney is the first for that, but technically speaking, they're not. But it's still cool nonetheless, and I'm definitely giving it a big thumbs up because that is amazing to see.
Yes, and also the Disney Wish will be christened actually tomorrow in about 26 hours from now. So if you're probably wondering how you can watch the christening ceremony, go to like the Disney Parks blog website and they'll have a live stream linked. The christening starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will definitely not be missing it, so I will definitely be watching the stream.
Absolutely. Sadly, unfortunately, you can't see any of the christening from the public areas at the port. So if you're planning to go to the port to see it, just know do not go with the port and see it. You won't be able to get a good view from any of the vantage points. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be very interesting. So once again, the christening is tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would definitely not be missing it. So, and also, just like Tyler said, some news articles are saying that like this is the first time that Disney has, or this is the first time there hasn't been a godmother. Well, actually, also if the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, it actually has a godfather instead of a godmother. So it's definitely interesting. It's very nice about Disney shaking it up a little bit. But it's definitely going to be very interesting, and I'm not going to miss the christening tomorrow.
Absolutely, brother. It's going to be amazing to see, and congrats to Disney for having another ship. Can't wait to see Tricon Vessel number 2.
But anyway, so once again, if you guys have any questions for us, we're going to start slowing down the stream. If you have any questions, please tag us in chat at Best of Both Worlds, and we will answer your comment as best as we can.
Absolutely. Again, tag us in chat. And if you have any comments in the replay, tag us in chat as well. Again, Nathan does this show every single week. We rotate through a various co-host. Some weeks it's going to be me. Sometimes it's going to be other guests. You never know. So make sure you tune in every single week because Nathan has some great guest lines up.
Yes, well, I will not be able to do it every week because right now in about 2 months I will be I will actually. So it's going to be fun. So there are going to be vlogs about it. So it's you guys would definitely not want to miss it. Those will be coming out in September and October.
Yep, again, stay tuned for that on Best of Both Worlds. A lot of great content coming out. Really, really looking forward to it.
Now, if you want a sneak peek of what I'm doing, I got a video coming out this Friday at noon. So there's a little teaser at the end of the video. You definitely not want to miss that. So anyway, we're gonna get on to the question of the day. Since we're done with the cruise news, if anything comes out about the situation on Carnival Magic, please also feel free to tag us in chat as well. So
Indeed.
Question of the day is main dining or buffet breakfast. So I want to hear your opinion first, Tyler.
So if the main dining room is open, definitely go to the main dining room. Here's the deal: the quality of the food is way better than the buffet. Now, do note that the selection may not be as big, but the food quality is always way better than the main dining room. I would pick the main dining room over on any meal over the buffet. Not the buffets. The buffets are getting better. Depending on what cruise line you sail, definitely the bigger ships have better buffets. But again, I would definitely go ahead and pick the main dining room over the buffet for breakfast and any other meal. So that's my little take on that.
In my personal opinion, we mostly do breakfast at the buffet, but like 1 or 2 days we will do a breakfast at the main dining room, because if you sailed on Disney before the COVID shut down on the Disney Dream or Disney Fantasy, you might have seen I know they did this on Fantasy. They had breakfast at Enchanted Garden, one of the restaurants on board the ship. They had a breakfast buffet on the ship, and you could also, I think you could also do a la carte as well. But it was definitely a pretty interesting concept. It was like you took the buffet, but you mixed it in with the main dining room experience. So it was definitely pretty interesting to experience that concept.
Absolutely. I know on like cruise ships when they have like this, I don't know on Carnival, but I know on Royal Caribbean when they have like the sea day breakfast or lunch on board, they have like a half buffet, a half menu. It's great. Love the sea day lunch. If you're on a cruise ship and they're open for lunch on the sea day, go ahead and definitely do it. Same with breakfast. Most cruise lines are open for breakfast on port days. I think sea days as well, open for breakfast for a few hours. I highly recommend you go ahead and check it out. If you want a nice meal, again, highly recommended.
But anyway, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Please let us know if you're watching the replay in the comments, or if you're watching this live tell us in chat if you prefer main dining or buffet breakfast. So anyway, if you guys have any other more questions, please once again feel free to tag us in chat, and we will try to answer your comments as best as we can.
Indeed, and thank you so much everyone for joining us for the show. Again, I think we're gonna start slowing down. Is that correct, Nathan?
Yes. So I'm currently looking up the news about the Carnival Magic fight.
Yes. Again, I'll go fill in right now as we go talk about that. He looks that up. It's an interesting event right there with the Carnival Magic. Quite interesting. Coast Guard involved, of course. Nathan should have some more details in a few moments. Just a crazy situation happening there with the Carnival Magic. That is for sure.
Yeah, so the ship is currently docked at the Manhattan Cruise Terminal today. And so currently the ship is docked in the Manhattan Cruise Terminal today. The NYPD is currently investigating the cause of the incident. So apparently a large fight broke out. And a large fight broke out at about 5:20 a.m. And the fight broke out at about 11:20 a.m. between two people on the dance floor, and actually grew more and more as the fight went on. So Carnival said in a statement, last night, while Carnival Magic was returning to New York, a number of guests were involved in a altercation in a nightclub. Thankfully, no serious injuries were reported, and our onboard security team intervened. The ship arrived as scheduled this morning, and shoreside law enforcement authorities were notified and met the ship to interview suspects and witness and conduct an investigation.
Yeah, that was it was a crazy thing. I'm not sure there's any video online of it, but I'm sure there is somewhere. It was an interesting event, that is for sure.
Yeah, so definitely, if you're sailing on board the Carnival Magic out of New York today, I would definitely, the ship might leave on time, maybe not maybe not, because as you're getting on the ship, you got the NYPD workers and the Coast Guard conducting the investigation. So please, if you're getting on board the Carnival Magic today and you're experiencing delays, just please just be mindful about what is happening right now.
Absolutely, that is the best thing to do, is be mindful of the ongoing situations out there in the world right now.
So anyway, we got a Roll Amusement in the chat right now.
What's up, Roll Amusement? Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
So anyway, it is 9:57. We are a couple minutes away from 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So anyway, I want to thank everybody who for coming on to the stream today. If you want more content just like this, please hit that like and subscribe button so it tells YouTube that, hey, people like this. So anyway, any last words, Tyler, before we get off of the stream today?
Well, yeah, Nathan, thank you so much for having me on your inaugural edition of the Cruise Coffee Show. By the way, guys, you can go follow me on most social media platforms. That is on YouTube, that is at The Tyler Show, and on other platforms at The Cruise Junkie. Once again, Nathan, thank you so much for having me on, brother. It was great talking with you here on this early morning on the East Coast.
So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully, we may or may not have a show next week. I'm still trying to get a guest. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the Cruise Coffee Show, where the news is real and the coffee is fake. Have a good week, everybody.